Émerveillez-vous, vous êtes à Tanger. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Alors aujourd'hui, on vous présente un épisode un peu différent, un épisode qui va sortir complètement de l'ordinaire. Premièrement parce qu'il va se dérouler en anglais avec deux invités qui ne font pas partie du staff Les Insolites, de l'écurie Les Insolites, mais ce sont deux figures de l'art, de la musique qui sont très importantes pour nous à Tanger. Je vais vous présenter Cédric Abouchahla, créateur de Sound Stories et également des OffSoulJazz Sessions, qui va expliquer son projet autour de la musique dans la ville de Tanger. En anglais, please. Et également, nous avons le plaisir d'accueillir Theo Croker.
Hey, hey.
Hi, Theo Croker.
Bonjour.
Great. Bonjour, everyone. Grand trompettiste de jazz. On va avoir l'occasion de découvrir davantage pour les auditrices et les auditeurs. Restez on the tune.
Hello les insolites, hello les insolites audience, and hello Theo Croker. Welcome in Tanger. I'm Cédric Abouchahla. I created the OffSoulJazz sessions in 2018. We aim to promote like a jazz club in different venues of Tanger to recreate the jazz club atmosphere. And we had several good musicians in Tanger since 5 years, despite the COVID. And today, for 2023-2024 session, we have Theo Croker, probably one of the best trumpeter of the world, actually, according to me. And
I second that.
Also one of the most innovative musicians. He's a trumpeter, of course. He plays several instruments, but he's also an arranger, a composer, a performer, a self-promoter. He's a real entrepreneur. And, well, we are really happy to have you here tonight at Najwa's place. Najwa hit me, the Zawiya Factory. It's a gallery, an art gallery, but it will be like a real jazz club tonight. We redisplay the venue for Theo and his great crew, the pianist Michael King, the double bass player Eric Wheeler, and the very young drummer Miguel Russell. Theo, welcome in Tanger. It's great to speak with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, our first question is, it's your first date in Tanger in Morocco and also the first date in Africa. How do you feel to be here?
I like it. It feels warm. The people seem very nice. I like the energy. I like the air. There's something different in the air.
Totally.
And I like it. I haven't drank the water yet, so I don't know if there's anything in the water.
Yeah, you actually drink it.
No, I'm joking.
No.
I'm excited to be here. I don't want to leave.
And so do we. Did you prepare some surprises for tonight? Because we have a specific audience in Tanger. People are really open-minded. They are cosmopolitan people. And they know jazz, of course, because most of them are listening some jazz music. They know less new jazz. And this is why it's really interesting to have you here. Because I will say, you are the kind of jazzman who is between the tradition and the new era. So can you talk about this, your position about it and the work you do?
Yeah, I mean, I do my best to, I've always studied and understood tradition. It's my foundation, and I do my best to push it far beyond the expectations of the tradition itself and of myself. And, I think usually the reaction after our shows is, wow, okay, I didn't expect that. Very cosmic. It's more of an experience than a show, especially, we don't just play jazz standards and things like that. We might slide some in, but we don't, it's not just melody, solo, melody. It's more of an experience. There's a story that happens throughout the entire show that you can catch in like a thread, and we kind of just keep you in suspense for 90 minutes, and then at the end kind of conclude it. And it's really like a beautiful experience. And it's, that's the goal, to make it more of an experience than just a show.
Yes, it's exactly what I felt, and most of the people who hear your music felt when, from the Afrophysicist to the last album and through the Escape Velocity or Star Purple Nation, you're always telling a story, but your story is not with words, even if you write the text in your albums that we can read. It's with music, and this story, is it all about just imagination and fantasy, or is there also a social and a politic story?
Well,
Music?
imagination is reality. So whatever you imagine, you manifest. So it is reality. it's not a fable or a story tale or anything like that. And it's meant to. All my music is meant to invoke thought within a person, to have them think, even if they're unaware of it. It's really meant, especially the vibrations of it and the keys. Everything is very very spiritually charged to activate your subconscious.
And what this reality and this spirituality is all about, if I can ask?
Well, I mean, that's such a individual thing.
Yeah, of course. But you talk to the world with your music, so we want to.
But it's more to activate your own. People have to listen to it and decide for themselves what it is about for them. Because no matter what I say it is, it's a very unique. It's an individual experience. Like you're here as a single soul, and you're gonna die as a single soul. So you have to find it within yourself. It's your own hero's journey. So really, all the music is about becoming a hero for yourself.
Okay. And do you have any specific influence through the jazz or any artist that push you in that kind of state of mind? Into the soul of the jazz?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people. People like, I love Wayne Shorter. I love how imaginative Wayne Shorter is, and how he manifests the fantasy into reality with his music. I love the way Miles Davis tells a story when he plays. I love the way Duke Ellington creates a whole mood for you to live in with every song. Him and Billy Strayhorn. I love the way John Coltrane exerts just the mastery of the power of his sound, how spiritual he sounds when he plays. I love the way Charlie Parker expanded the vocabulary of the music. I love the way Roy Hargrove, you feel the intent of every note he plays, like every note. So, all those things influence me greatly, and they all set a great example and foundation for how to have a lot of integrity in music, and not just to play some people just play to play, and I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but for me, music is a very spiritual thing.
Can you beat this term, integrity in music? It's really important what you said, because there's a tradition, and all the names you dropped are really important for me too, because I love this music, and it's like you speak to me, you speak to my heart, and with the soul jazz session and also the bookstore Les Insolites, we aim to, without presumption, and we aim to educate in a good way all the people who like this music and want to know more. And John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker's, these guys are not only musicians, they are specific souls that say something. And in their work, they are geniuses, exactly as Mozart or any kind of genius, or Einstein, the physicist, is. No, it's true. It's not, really it is. It is this. And you walk in the same path of them. Well, and you have maybe you speak about integrity. Huh? I don't lost my idea, and this integrity means you have a kind of responsibility when you do. It's not only a job or a passion. It's something more. Spiritual.
It is. I walk my own path. Like I'm not any of those people, and I never can be. All I can do is be me, and the way that they are themselves is what inspires me to be myself. And I feel like, it is important, especially as an African American man, it is important for us to understand and study and be knowledgeable about the tradition that they left behind. Because if we don't, it will get whitewashed and gentrified and turned into something else. And it will no longer be our history. It will become, something that lives in an institution or a college or belongs to whoever can pay for it.
Exactly. You give the idea for the next step. Jazz is not about only tradition or classical music. I will say in France, we learn music in conservatoire. Mm-hmm. Conservatoire means that we have to keep things as they are. Mm-hmm. And I love classic music, but sometimes it's like if you play classic music, you can't touch the music. Yeah. It's like it is a museum. Yeah. But jazz is a laboratory. Yeah, with good absolutely. Things and bad things also. Mm-hmm. And for you, for example, when you just create a new album, how do you see the things with the public? Because there's a lot of jazz musicians, and most of the people could think, oh, Theo Croker, is it just another trumpeter? And how do you prepare yourself to create something that is belong trumpet or jazz music?
I just don't care what they think. And, the same way Coltrane and Miles and Charlie Parker didn't care how people thought about their playing or what they were playing, I don't care in a good way. And I don't let that influence me. In fact, I look outside of jazz to care less. I listen to people like Bjork or like a Doja Cat or like a No Name or a Sampha or Kanye West or Nas or Mos Def, and the way, because in a way they are true stewards of what jazz represented. The to be revolutionary in music, you have to step away from the idea of being popular or being acceptable or digestible. I do think it is important, if you want to be able to reach people, you have to give people the access point. You have to find some way to make it accessible. In jazz, the way John Coltrane would make it accessible is he would play My Favorite Things. And you would recognize that melody, and then you would be entranced for the next 30 minutes while he improvised. and it would keep that thread. You would know you're listening to My Favorite Things. So there is like a middle ground in that sense to have a thread that people can latch onto so that you can then pull them into your world.
So the title of your last album, Jazz is Dead. Is it a question? Is it a provocation? Is it a warning?
It's hyperbole. It's not a joke. And the thing is, the funny part is, it was hard for me to explain it years ago when I made it, but the lyrics explain it very well. I'm not even really talking about music. I'm talking about the way when you're, like, the word jazz is a euphemism for being black. It's a euphemism for being a black entertainer. I'm talking about what it's like to be a black entertainer who is intellectual, and how your music has to be dumbed down, or you're expected not to be compensated financially for your music because you're spiritual, and things like that. And the idea that you don't own your master, you don't own your publishing, you don't own the venue, you don't own the circuit, you don't have the power. So it's more of a commentary on the state of the industry or the model that I just refuse.
Okay.
And it actually that song has caused me a lot of not grief, but just it's just very interesting how people hear the title and they don't understand it, and or they want to rebuke it. No, jazz isn't dead. It's this and that. It's this and that. I said no, jazz it's in a museum now. It's at a music conservatory. You can pay $150,000 and get a degree in jazz, which means it's dead. And you learn that from somebody else who paid $150,000 to get a degree in jazz education, and it's like, but you go to these schools and it's white Americans with money. It's not diverse. It's not a part of the community. It doesn't live in the community anymore, and things like that. So it's kind of like a double commentary.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I see jazz as an end, as it's a music. So there's the pleasure of listening music. And yesterday night we were listening with Eric and you some classics, some standards, and we were saying, "Oh, I love this song. I love that song."
Yeah.
For me, it's so there is a tradition, there is a story that continues.
Yes.
And you talk about Roy Hargrove, who nobody plays a ballad like Roy Hargrove because he's with his story, but now.
Yes.
So there is no the time is not cut with him.
No.
But also what you said is really true and important. So how can you figure out the future of that music with this reality now? You can buy a degree. You can say I listen jazz, and now there is that term jazzy, which is awful, which means nothing. We hate this.
All right. I mean, I'm also, I don't know. I don't know what the future of jazz is, nor do I really care. And I mean that in a good way, because I don't survive off of being jazz, And of course, the word jazz means different things in different places. I find in Europe, even here in North Africa and in Asia, jazz is a very broad term, which incorporates a lot of Black American music. Whereas in America, jazz is a museum piece. It's this very old, suit and tie, gotta play standards type, thing. And if you understand the tradition, jazz music, or what they call jazz, was dance music. It was music that was being played at parties. It was sexy. It was punk. It was revolutionary. And once you put it in an institution and study it, you lose that. And people that are just imitating what happened in the past are losing that. So the future of jazz depends on the present and how we continue to connect with people and have the music have a purpose beyond how technical or how musical we can be, and really be about, again, how you can draw people in and give people something to take with them, or something to hold on to musically and spiritually that will then enhance or expand their life.
So will we dance tonight?
I hope so.
I
hope so.
I have two last questions.
Go for it.
First of all, to the young musicians, because we aim to promote music for the young musicians in Morocco as well, so to create a stage. And what advice will you give to a young musician who wants to be a professional and wants to lead a career in music or in jazz in general? What advice would you give him? Or just
you have to be yourself, and you have to trust the part of you that the part of your music that you gravitate to the most. You have to indulge yourself in. In the beginning you said I was one of the best trumpet players in the world, and I said I agree. If you don't believe you're one of the best, you'll never be. So you have to have an unwavering belief and confidence in yourself, and the best way to do that is to study and practice. So never forget your tradition. If you're from North Africa, your music should sound like you're from North Africa, even if you're playing a John Coltrane song. So don't forget your tradition, and incorporate that, because that's part of what makes you who you are. And have a voracious appetite to study. And for the career aspect, you just have to study people's careers. Sometimes people forget to do that. Study the career of Duke Ellington, study the career of Miles Davis or Roy Hargrove, and understand the things that they did and the things that impacted their careers, and find your present modern opportunities for that.
Thank you very much for these advices, precious advices for the young generation and professional in general. I have a last question. What album did you listen in your life or recently that you think it might be more famous or known by the people?
I mean, Sanford released a new album a couple weeks ago. I think it's beautiful. Sounds like a jazz album to me. Or what I would call jazz.
Sanfa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
we know him. And Stephanie's love him as well. Thank you very much to Croker for having to come in Tanger and to take the time to answer our questions and spend time with us.
Thank you for having me.